the relationship dynamic is that I don't know. I assume it's the girl writing that that she's being hit.
Oh, okay.
But the guy says that he loves her, and she keeps forgiving the person, and it's okay. She find the question. I think the question she's posing is it really okay to continue that? Because her friends are telling her to stop, but she's okay because she really believes that the guy who's hitting her loves her. So how would you address that kind of scenario, I guess?
Yeah, so again, well, there's two things. There's emotional and physical. There's also, I don't know, there's also something that people can see, especially if they're growing in their maturity. But it's going to sound kind of weird, but if people don't realize that when you have sex with a person, there's almost a chemical bond. Just like, I don't know if you know anything about when a woman nurses a baby.
Yeah.
So there's a chemical in the milk, and there's something happening when the woman is nursing the baby. And also, in the same way, there's a physical electricity or something going on when you have sex with a person. So it's not just two things coming together. There's really something happening, a bond. And so I think when a person gets in a relationship, and then secondly, I think there's also some strength or some ties in a person when they're emotionally tied to a person or physically attracted to a person. And so they can't sometimes distinguish what love is. And so because the sexual part is bonded to that person, so they can't really get it out of their mind that because they're so attracted or so connected to the person through sex, they're so connected to the person through the sweet times, the Valentine's, with the candy and the dinner and all that, and then if it's a physical fight or whatever, then all the person can think about is the special moments. So they're not thinking, totoo yan, talagang pag-ibig, and so kahit na there are some masama mga, like kidding or whatever, and so I think it's hard to separate. That's why people think, I think it sounds weird, but people think, oh, I'm human, so I know what love is. Because everybody knows what love is, because it's natural to love, but love is really something that you have to grow in your understanding. It's kind of about education. You have to be educated on what love is, because you might just assume that love has something to do with attraction or physical or like that, but it's something that you have to exercise really, because if you're in a relationship for an extended period of time, you'll find out that you have to love someone when you don't feel like loving that person. So I think it would be hard at a young age to understand the difference between love and physical.
I think that girl should listen to Beyonce. Kind of have that thing. No, it's the sad thing. There's and I've known some people. They're most likely, there are really some people that seem predisposed na abusive in relationship. I call it the Twilight Syndrome. Anybody here watch Twilight? Uy, mami, nasa Hollywood tayo. Anyway, I watched Twilight because it was funny. So I have friends to prove that all we did was laugh at them because it was so funny. But, the weird abusive boyfriend who stares at you while you sleep. And he's stronger and he's prone to wanting to destroy you, but he's trying not to, but he loves you. Yung ganon. So medyo... Yeah, there you go. Yeah, know what I'm talking about. Everybody loves Edgar. No, they don't. I call him Edgar because it's funnier that way. But, and the thing is, sometimes you just feel like, I don't know, as a girl, that's the best that you can have. Many times, I get to relate, I get to meet with people na, yung talagang sobrang abusive na, either verbally, like he said, verbally, emotionally, puro blackmail na lang lahat, di ba? And only because you feel like you don't deserve something better. Or that's the best you can have. Because if you think about it, kung meron nga namang mas okay pa na mas magkakagusto sa'yo, eh, pero pinagtsatsagaan to. Diba? Halos di ka patakuan ng langaw ng nanay mo ng bata ka, tapos basag-basagin lang yung mukha mo. It doesn't make sense, so it all boils down to your self-worth. Why are you, please don't break up with your boyfriends, please. If there's a, unless they're hitting you, then maybe you want to put that relationship on hold. Pero the more important question I would ask this girl who was like, is it okay if he's hitting me? Will have to be, is it okay for you to think about another world where you don't deserve to be hit? And you know, it goes both ways. I think that, baliktad din eh, for men are usually more emotionally abused than women because it's the blackmail. It's the, if you don't do this, I won't do that, and if you this, and yung gano'n, hindi mo kasi mabreakan kita. And it's the same thing. Bakit ka dun sa girl na paasa kung sa tingin mo may mas okay pa dyan na magmamahal sa'yo? Diba? And it all boils down, oh, diba? So suddenly people are like, yeah, I don't know. Please don't look at them. If you know somebody like that in this room, don't look at them. That's horrible. No, seriously, you'd be surprised how, like, I was holding a youth, it was young people talking about relationships then. And then, sabi ko, guys, kung yung mga kaibigan ninyo, sinasabi na nagpapakatanga ka na, kailangan mo talaga ng tao sa buhay mo, magsasabing tanga ka, and then two bad guys in front. Oh. I'm just like, not in front of everyone. You know, so it's funny, but it's true sometimes, yung gano'n. And I keep telling these young kids, it all boils down to, how do you see yourself? Kung sa tingin mo, yan lang ang pwede sa'yo, yan lang ang bagay sa'yo, wala ka, hindi nagaganda pa yung buhay. Wait lang. Kaya konting ano lang, ha? Because, you know what? Women, in case you haven't noticed, you're amazing. Seriously, your ability to give life, you are the solution to most problems, and you all know this. The men, at least the ones who are brave enough to admit, we can't do anything without you all. It's just not going to move as far and as great as we would want to unless there's a woman involved. And women, you know that it's the same thing in reverse. You'll get far, but the impact, everything, iba pa rin yung flavor if men and women work together. And I think that's something that we have failed to, because I love women, and contrary to popular belief. I know my hands do this all the time, but I'm happily married. And I love girls, I do. And I've noticed working with girls all my life, they're amazing. And if you don't realize that about yourself, you know, here's the thing. Women add 10 years to the life of a man. Like they've measured the lifespan of a man without a woman, like not married and married, single. Married men end up dying at around 70, 80, 75 upwards. Unmarried men are usually dead around 50. And that's not just, why? There's something about, you know, for those of you who like God, there's, for those of you who like, church there's actually somewhere in there that actually says that, you know, women are the answer. It is not good for the man to be alone, not the woman, because the women, single women can last till they're 80, it's fine. But they're not lonely. I mean, they are, but they're okay. You know? But men, we need the women. So if the woman doesn't understand that she's worth that much, then she's really going to settle for the guy who hits her. So ako, payong kaibigan, kasi Dr. Flirt minsan may payong kaibigan, payong tatay, payong kuya, kung ano lang yung papa ni Kumayo. I would tell that girl, siguro tatay na lang, anak, you're worth so much more than that, I think. And if you know anybody that's being hit, tell her she's worth more than that. And she may not see it now, because a lot of women, even in, ito, kasal na to battered wives, ay, my God, talagang 10 years niya na ako binubugbog, ayaw pa rin. Some of you may know people like that. But until, and my mom, actually, one of her friends, was going through that, you know, from a long time ago. And like, until she just keeps talking about it, week in and week out, and week in and week out. And I told my mom, and my mom said, ano ba, ayaw niya ba? Sabi ko, ma, kung hindi naman nakikita kailangan niya na umalis dyan, wala nang magagawa. But when they decide, it's time to get out, then you're there for her. Then you can help. Then you leave. Maybe he's hitting the kids too, I don't know. But I find that people who hit their wives, that doesn't happen overnight. And some people are attracted to people like that. There's some weird cycle that goes on in the family. I don't have enough time to get into that, but seriously, women, you're worth more than that. And boys, same thing. If she's just nagging you, you know, hot-hotan ka lang yan. And it happens at a young age too. I know a friend of mine, she has a son, he's 13. There's this girl who texts him, papanting yung tayo, kita niyo yung text, di ba I'm pretty? Sino yung babae nga? Ang ganun, di ba? Tapos makikita niyo yung text, I told her, please don't look at your son's phone, but good job that you found out. parang yung text na parang, Oy, di na muna kita nilibre ha, I'm saving up for a guitar. Sino yung babae nga? may hinututan siya ng load, yung mga ganun. Ako parang, what? It all boils down to self-worth, hitting any kind of abuse. So if you really don't know what you're worth, then you're just going to let anybody do anything to you. So don't listen to everything Beyonce says, but she's kind of got the whole women empowerment idea.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go for it.
I was going to say also, I'm sorry to keep coming back to sex all the time, but I think it's one of the questions that really you hear, because we have a website, it's wakluna.com is our website, but we have I need help at wakluna.com or barkadahan at wakluna.com. And one of the number one questions, actually this is the number one question, but one of the questions is something like what I said a while ago. It's always about your first love. So madalas sa mga babae, but they will say, they don't want to, like, he's my first love. So when a young woman says my first love, it kind of means, if you Tagalogin, it kind of means he's the first guy I ever had sex with. And so there's a fear of a young woman that if they don't actually marry the first person they had sex with, then it can't be. Something's wrong in the universe if I don't stay with this guy. So then that's the foundation for the question, I think. Can I love someone else? Isn't it supposed to be that I'm supposed to only have my first love? And so the reason I'm making that the foundation for answering that question is because I think that person or this kind of person is asking the question about the book or whatever because the person doesn't want to let go of this person that is their first love. Kahit na the guy is being a bad guy or whatever. So it's like I have to somehow hold on to this guy because he's the translated first person I ever had sex with, my first love. And so maybe he'll change or maybe something will happen or something like that. So that's, I think, a lot of times where it's the hidden part of the question. It seems to me sometimes, so I don't know.